things underway. Garzone on the inside, Majman on the outside, getting ready to go here for the drivers in USF2000. They're back end of a doubleheader here in Markham. Field set, lining things up, and we are green, green, green. 4 wide coming down into turn number 6. Couple drivers looking to go to the very outside. You've got to give room coming through turn 6, a decreasing radius right-hander out to a short shoot here over to turn number 7. It'll go 5 lanes to 4 lanes to 2 lanes. 4 lanes here at a turn number 6 is going to get very narrow here coming through turn number 7 and 8. Got to give each other room. A little bit of respect goes a long way. Garzone out to the early lead. Majman slots into second. Great start for Martella. He goes up into third. Anthony Martella to P3. As we're looking good here on the opening circuit, coming through the 10, 11, 12 complex. You can see drivers given just enough room to get through there. They're going to have to single file it through 1, 2. So good start so far for the drivers here in USF2000. A clean opening circuit, a little bit of defense further back as the drivers coming now through turns 1 and 2. Here's that move I talked about down to the inside there. Good pass. That is Eddie Beswick getting by Wesley Gudler into turn number 3. Todd, that's really, I think, for our cars for sure, one of the primary overtaking opportunities is to get to the inside after you come through 1 and 2.
It's a good illustration of a pass being made in one corner, but set up starting a couple of corners earlier. As you come across the start-finish line and you get yourself at the right angle and build up a little bit of speed through 1 and 2, if you get the right opportunity, you can make a dive up the inside and hold on in 3.
Yeah, and if you're fast, so even out of 10, 11, and 12, if you've got a better run out of 12, you're going to have more speed rolling into turn number 1 and 2. And listen, that's a daunting corner, folks. And if you can really roll a lot of speed through that corner, you just let the car drift out. The other drivers are trying to get back to the right side to set up for turn number 3. If you can make that move to the inside, you're gonna get some passes done.
So far, a nice move from Anthony Martella on the opening lap to get himself up into the 3rd position. Had a nice move late stages of yesterday's race. Just before a caution came out, he was able to jump up from his 4th position to 3rd. Got ahead of Oliver Weldon, I believe, to get the final podium position yesterday.
A solid run for sure to get himself up there. But right now, here we are rolling. And again, as Todd had said, 20 laps within a 40-minute time window. So indeed, the drivers here in USF2000, good opening laps here right now. Garzone leads. We'll get them when they come back around to put lap number 2 in the books. We'll give you a full field rundown. You see it across the screen as well. But Garzone leads. Majman 2nd. Martella 3rd. Weldon runs in 4th. Evan Cooley in the 5th spot. Look at this fight a little bit further back. Man, that's good stuff there. That is Gundler going at it with Gabriel Kahn. That is for 7th. Evan Cooley runs 5th. Eddie Beswick up to 6th spot. Gundler 7th. Kahn 8th. Cuthbert 9th. And Ryan Janetta in 10th. 11th place is Lucas Nanji, the Canadian out of Quebec. Ian Bossoff runs 12th. Naeem Saleh in 13th. Thomas Nordquist and Ayrton Khan. Oh, there's an issue there for the number 24. Issues on the racetrack for Eddie Beswick. No, that's Lucas Nanji, pardon me. Nanji, and looks like Ryan Janetta's wing and the number 44 involved there as well. Where was that battle going on? That was for 10th position. Again, commentators curse occasionally. You look down at live timing, you miss something on the racetrack. Hopefully we'll get a chance to have a look at that. But there's the 44 with no rear wing. Yeah, full course caution. Not surprising at all with the wing there down in turn number 5. I'm expecting to see just rear contact coming in there. The front wing of Nanji, the rear wing, here it is here. Look a little further back as the drivers working their way into the corner. Who gets too deep? Down in. Actually, it looks like yeah, I can't put that one on Lucas Nanji. Todd, it looked to me like there was an issue maybe getting down into 1st gear for Ryan Janetta. The car kind of chugged a little bit, not able to get down, missed the apex, and Lucas Nanji just with nowhere to go.
And you have kind of the accordion effect. There is Nanji is expecting to be able to get through the corner at the proper speed, but when the car ahead of him stops abruptly, he has absolutely no place to go. The contact, the wing comes off, and now we're under a full course caution.
And I thought it wasn't an issue of a driver going too deep in the corner or somebody braking too early. That was simply an issue. Again, we'll see it. Here's the replay again. You're going to see the number 44 here coming in. He's the 3rd driver in line here. As he starts to get it turned, it's further back, pardon me. Yeah, the next one there. You can see he starts, oh no, he gets into the back of the number 7 of Naeem Saleh. So he had to woe it up. I think he may have got a little deep into the corner and had to get woed up, maybe just tapped the back of Saleh, and then Nanji getting in the back of Janetta. My goodness, that is tough for both of those drivers.
Unfortunate. Lucas Nanji, I know, is looking forward to this event, sort of his home race, being from Montreal and Quebec. But I guess this is still the home race, but looking forward to it. And that's a tough way to have this one come up against you in the early going.
Yeah, Ryan Janetta into pit lane. I would expect they'll try to put as long as the damage isn't horrible, they'll try to put a new rear wing on. When you come to a circuit like this, it's not like a Mid-Ohio or a Road America where these drivers have so many laps on. You'll want to get Ryan back out there. More laps on this particular racetrack, all lining up for next year, right? So they'll get that thing repaired, get him back out. Same goes for Lucas Nanji. They'll get a new front wing on that, the nose on that machine for him to get him back out for more laps here as well. But what that has done is brought Vian Bossoff up into 10th, Naim Saleh up into 11th. 12th spot is Brendan Cooley. 13th, Dean Peterson. Talk a little bit about Dean Peterson, driver running over in Europe in the F4 Czechoslovakian and Spanish series, but wanted to come over here to get some street circuit racing, some test circuit racing experience. The driver I've followed for a couple of years in karting, coming up through the ranks. He's been doing a lot of top-level international karting in Europe as well. He's made the full-time move into F4 cars in Europe. So indeed, a great opportunity for him to come here, get some opportunity to run in what we often call, Todd, the concrete canyon.
This would be a perfect example of it, with concrete surrounding this 2.19-mile circuit as we continue to circulate under caution, working lap 4 with Sebastian Garzon, Brad Majman, Anthony Martella in 3rd spot. I misspoke earlier. Martella finished 4th yesterday. He is 3rd today. So we have 2 cars touch under caution.
My goodness, a couple drivers have got together on the lap here. That's the number 95 involved in that one. That's Brendan Cooley, and someone's got into the back of Cooley. I think it may be Dean Peterson. Yeah, we just talked about Dean Peterson and contact as I think they were ready to come back to green flag racing.
That's twice now for the announcers, curse in one race.
What have I done?
But I know it's just everyone's just kind of focused on their plan to circulate, try to get a little bit of heat in their tires. It looks like the field is all lined up, getting ready to go, and then everybody kind of checks up just a little bit, and Peterson gets into the back of the 95 car.
They were literally kind of getting rolling, getting the speed to pick up a bit. You'll often see that accordion. You got to give yourself enough room, and Peterson did not, and he climbed up the left rear of Cooley. So we remain under yellow, as a couple of drivers have had some issues there. Dean Peterson, when you're coming to green like that, if you're further back, they were essentially running, I think, down in the 13th or 14th spot. Give yourself lots of room. You're going to get that accordion effect, especially coming into that corner, Todd, that 10, 11, 12 combination leading onto the front straightaway. It's not a corner where, let's say, a final corner at Road America where it's a big sweeping corner. Everybody's going to check up, getting lined up through there anyways.
Absolutely, and you can see this is one of those tight, narrow parts of the course with, as you mentioned, the combination of corners of 10, 11, and then the right-hander 12 that takes you out onto the front straight. We saw that part of the circuit catch a number of drivers out in all of our different races yesterday here at the Ontario Honda Dealers Indy at Markham. And if you're at speed and you have contact with the wall, it shoots you across the track. As you can see by some of the tire marks on the circuit, it has a big impact. Fortunately, this is a slower impact, just under caution.
Yeah, so sadly, these cars are essentially locked together right now. They're going to have to bring the tow trucks in to actually unhook them, because as he climbed up over top, he settles back down, and they're essentially locked together. So that'll be the end of the day for Brendan Cooley, likely, and Dean Peterson. I don't know. I'm assuming the damage will probably put them to pit lane. I will say this, we didn't talk about it. Cole Medeiros, they were able to figure out what happened to Cole. He's back out onto the racetrack, and he has run all the laps, so that's a fantastic thing there to get him back out. You want these drivers to get as many laps as they can on a track like this. Cole, his debut in USF2000, the whole concept was to get him out here, learn this racetrack ahead of 2027.
And you're right, get as many laps as he can, because he had a bit of contact in the practice session coming up yesterday and shortened the session by just a couple of minutes, but also had a little trouble with some contact in the race yesterday.
Yeah, he looped it around in turn number 4 yesterday as well, so it has not been a smooth weekend for young Cole Medeiros from Cambridge, Ontario. Field getting just enough room to roll in there to the driver's left as the crew going to work, getting these cars separated. Hate to see that happening, of course, under yellow as we were getting ready to come back to green flag racing. But again, with that accordion effect, we've all seen it happen before. All these drivers anxious. They want to get back on power. They don't want to lose the opportunity to get through. Although this particular racetrack, I feel like as long as you've got enough room coming out of turn number 12, you're still going to have to snake it through the turn 1-2 gauntlet. So maybe just an unwise move there. They've got those cars separated. Trying to see whether or not there's major damage. I think, yeah, you can see the damage to the right front there, bent wishbone in the number 21 for Dean Peterson on that VRD machine. And again, they've got the car of Evan Cooley up as well. You got to expect left rear damage to that race car as well.
Pretty good work by the AMR safety team to detach those cars from one another, get them up and move them out of the way quickly, and it'll be amazed how quickly they'll get back into position as well, and hopefully we're back to green flag running for the duration.
Garzone, Majman, Martella, Weldon, Beswick, the top 5 drivers. Cooley 6th, Kahn 7th, Gundler 8th, Cuthbert 9th, and Bossoff in 10th. Having a look there at the number 95, just seeing whether or not I could see any damage. They do have the car up on the hook, so it's not obviously rolling back. AMR IndyCar safety team is going to get themselves back to their spot as well, so I believe we'll go green flag racing this next time by. It'll be 6 laps in the books, 20 lapper, so 14 laps still to go. Lots of time on the clock as well, still 33 minutes of a 40-minute window. One of the key components of our program is to have that window, so we're going to get the max laps. Yesterday, the drivers did a great job during just the 15 laps there. Actually, they went on the time as we finished under caution in USF 2000 yesterday. The Pro 2000 category had a great battle, a late caution in that race, and we set up for a battle between Jack Jeffers, G3 Argyros, and Andres Cardenas. Those drivers finishing in that order on the podium. Garzone, the point leader, rolling in here to the day. 99 points still up for grabs when we get to Road America for the finale. There's 33 points available for any race. 30 points for the race win, 1 for qualifying on the pole, 1 for most laps led, and 1 for the fastest lap of the race. So 33 points is the most you can get. With 3 races at Road America, 99 points is the most you can get. So if anybody 100 points behind Garzone leaving this weekend, out of it mathematically. And Garzone knows, we talked to him about it in the pre-race show. He knows that if he has a good weekend here, he may only need a decent finish in race number 1 to be able to lock that championship down.
Consistency throughout the season, always a key to success if you're looking for that championship and the scholarship to move up to the next level.
Oh my goodness, we did it again. Are you kidding me? Naeem Saleh jumping up over the top of Ian Bossoff at the number 67. Unbelievable. And the 94 has slowed here as well. That is Ayrton Kahn. He's going to be able to pull away again, but we literally just did exactly the same thing again, rolling up into the corner. And this is what we do not want to see out of our USF 2000 drivers. We know mistakes are going to be made, but you have to learn from your mistakes. This is unfortunate here once again as we're trying to go green flag racing. My goodness, I would expect. And I know I'm not on race control. I can't hear the tones of Mr. Jim Swintel, who is the voice of race control, but I would expect we could probably characterize it as a stern talking to.
I would go even a step further than a stern talking to. There were apparently a couple of moments yesterday when Jim Swintal was very emphatic in his instructions and directions, and to have this occur for a second time in F2000, he will not be happy.
Yeah, this is literally a disappointment for everybody in the paddock right now. You just don't want to see this. You got to give yourself enough room. I could see it kind of happening a little bit, and then you saw the 7 kind of. You literally could see him kind of punch off and just drive over the 67 of Bossoff. So not only is it bad for Naeem Saleh, but it's bad for Ian Bossoff as well. They were running in the 10th and 11th position. So Bossoff still remains on the track. He came across. He'll have to come to pit lane to get a new wing. That's going to move Thomas Nordquist up into 10th, Elias Vignola up into 11th, Kelly Countryman to 12th, Cal Peter up into 13th, Jack Morhart to 14th, Cole Medeiros will be 15th. When they come back around. I'm sure the drivers up front, though, Todd, getting a little anxious, although we are being told that they were trying to, I think the word maybe was coming down for Sebastian Garzone to pick things up a little bit. Once the pace car rolls, you need to maintain pace car speed, which is essentially 100 kilometers an hour. So you got to hold that speed, and if you're not doing that, then you're going to check everybody else back up. There's a chance that a leader like that could get a penalty.
Understandable. And you're trying to set yourself up for the best possible restart. So that's why Garzone is trying to keep the field bunched up behind him so that he can punch off and build a bit of a lead immediately. So you see the AMR safety team quickly removing that 7 machine and also kind of scouring the ground to make sure that there's no carbon fiber bits out on track, because we don't want any other problems to get in our way.
And Todd, you could see when Naeem Saleh got out of the race car, and even when he was in it, he was pounding the steering wheel. Same thing on the halo. Unbelievable disappointment for him as well. But again, you've got to give yourself enough room. You and I talked about it. You know, you got to give a car length. There's no sense in being on top of a guy coming into that corner. Start picking things up as you get through turn 11. You're already kind of turning to the right. You're getting it rolling. Then you can kind of get on the gas a little bit, especially if you're outside the top 10. There's no sense in putting yourself in peril, and that's what happened for all the drivers who have been involved in the incident. Two of them, of course, not their own doing. Brendan Cooley and Vian Bossoff, the two drivers behind, making the mistakes of driving over top of the guy in front of them.
We're not getting ready for the green flag quite yet, but you notice there's a lot more space between those cars as they're coming through that area this time.
Yeah, 4 drivers out of the race with the contact that happened coming back to the green under yellow. And I'll tell you this, I would expect those 2 drivers will be taking a visit to the steward's office when these races are done here today, because that's something where, and again, I'll go on the positive side, is a teaching opportunity, a teaching moment for our race stewards to sit down and say, listen, here's what you did. What is your exit strategy? You know, this is how you approach this. How can we learn from this so it doesn't happen again?
Exactly right. That is the purpose of the USF Pro Championships, is to help drivers grow, to help them learn, help them mature. And as frustrating and disappointing as this is right now, take it and take a positive out of it. Figure out that there are ways to avoid these types of problems. As you said, moving up throughout the series, you expect fewer mistakes, and this will be the teaching moment.
Yeah, for me, so many of these drivers have come through the karting ranks as well, and I've had, with what I do with my website, ekartingnews.com, I've had the fortune to watch a lot of these drivers kind of work their way from cadet karting up into juniors, then eventually either senior racing or into cars. They essentially know what to do, although we don't do a lot of restarts in karting. That's one of the things that does happen. Very rarely do we do a full course yellow at a national karting event or an international karting event. So restarts are something that's a bit new, but they all know what the starts are like. They all know that they've got to stay and not touch the driver in front of them. That's a brain fade for a couple of drivers here coming back to green.
To the point you were making a couple of moments ago, apparently word has come down to the 12 car to maintain pace car speed, or you are at risk of a penalty.
There you go. That's what I expected as well. They talked about that in the drivers' meeting. Straight up to all the drivers, listen, if you are the leader, you're coming through, you maintain pace car speed, which is essentially 100 kilometers an hour. Our Civic Honda Type R pace car bolting away right now. So again, they'll be looking big time here, the number 12 of Sebastian Garzon, trying to play some games, trying to woe everybody up. And again, that has affected a couple of drivers' races already. People give themselves a little bit more room this time. I like to see that. The field looked good, pace more consistent coming into turn number 10 and 11. We're going to go back to green flag racing here out on the front straightaway. Finally, Aaron Likens at start finish will get that green flag back out, and we're underway once again. Green flag back at it here. Lap 8 goes in the book. Still 12 laps to go. Garzon through the 1-2 gauntlet. There's some side-by-side action there between, I believe, the 2 Pabst cars. Look at this action. Oh, Garzon's gone wide. Wide through turn number 4. A new leader has worked his way through. I think that might be Brad Majman. We're going to go 2 wide coming down into turn number 5. A great opportunity to make the overtake here. They'll make the turn into the corner. A couple drivers further wide. That's Martella who's gone to second. Anthony Martella to P2. Big wreck coming down into turn number 5. More chaos as one driver overcooked it big time into there. A number of drivers involved. The number 10 of Vignola, the number 5 of Kaylee Countryman involved in that one. Jack Morhart, the 78, trying to pull away. And one of the other drivers here for Exclusive Autosport involved as well down into turn number 5. So an embarrassing run here for the USF 2000 drivers. Incident after incident. Hate to see it. And we're going to get a really good look at it when we do get a chance to see the replay. Essentially a pass from the start. I believe Brad Majman potentially able to get by Garzon. Yeah, there's one of the Pabst cars is involved there as well. That's the 24. That's actually Lucas Nanji. His second incident there. We'll have a better look to see who it actually was that came crashing on through. The AMR team on site quickly. As you can see, they're getting some speedy dry down there as well, so you got to expect potential gearbox oil coming out of that Exclusive Autosport car. That thing is messed up in a big way. Big wreck on the left side there. Kaylee Countryman is not yet restarted. All right, so watch a little bit further back here. Leaders are going to work their way through. Someone comes barreling through. What we're going to see here, we've got some side-by-side action. You wonder whether or not somebody might have climbed on top of somebody and didn't have the ability to brake. There it is there. Look at further back, folks. A driver's up on top coming into the corner. So we'll see that as they come through. These drivers here are just trying to turn in. Nordquist is going to get lucky. Right into the side. Yeah, that was Lucas Nanji getting up onto the top of the exclusive car. That was Cole Medeiros. So Medeiros in the 97. Nanji drove over the back of him coming up into turn number 5, and on top of him, Todd, you can't get on the brakes, and right into the side of Elias Vignola. No. Very disappointing and unlucky for Vignola.
That is a terrible mistake that was made further up the track. And once Lucas Nanji was on top of the 97, there was no stopping either of those cars. There was going to be further contact down below, and takes a couple of more cars out of this race. And this is incredibly frustrating. We had a great restart, a very dramatic restart too, with Brad Madgeman taking over top spot and Anthony Martella moving up into second place as Sebastian Garzon went a little bit wide and opened up the door for those two position swaps, but now immediately back under caution again for this, what I would say was an avoidable incident.
So Madgeman, Martella, Garzon, Weldon, and Beswick still top 5. Wesley Gudler's up into 7th, but last time I saw Wesley come through there, I believe he may have a little bit of front wing damage. Looked like it was turned a little bit askew. Gundler currently runs in 7th, Max Cuthbert 8th, Thomas Nordquist, who just narrowly missed getting taken out by the Medeiros-Nanji connection. Those drivers, of course, not able to slow it up in 5, cleared right through, right into the side of Elias Vignola. And again, Kaylee Countryman involved in there, no fault of her own at all, was just right there getting ready to turn in. Same went for Jack Morehart. Luckily for Morehart, he was able to load up enough to stop. So good job for Jack, and he's going to benefit from that. He'll go up to 14th right now. So looks to me like we're essentially 14 drivers still on the racetrack indeed. Gabriel Kahn is out right now, Vignola, Countryman, Medeiros, Bossoff, Soleil, Cooley, and Peterson. Wow. We're going to have a look, folks, I think here at the pass. This is what we kind of picked up coming through 1-2 and over to turn number 3. So watch them come through. There's Garzon, your leader. Here he talked about the move to the inside. Look at this pass. Madgeman's going to throw it down the bottom of the racetrack. Not quite enough. Can't quite get it done. Watch them. They're going to, I believe, drift out there. So, yeah, it didn't get done in 3. It got done in the exit. So that early entry for Madgeman to the inside, you wonder whether or not, I think Garzon just got a little wide coming out of the corner. We watched him, we saw a couple of drivers go wide into the wall. He was wide out of the actual racing line where the grip is, and that allowed Madgeman to tuck back in, and Martella came through with him as well.
You wonder if Garzon checked to his inside mirror at that point and saw that there was an attack coming, and it just, you want to leave enough room, but it upsets you and it takes away your focus to get through that corner on line.
We always say it's tough to pass, but you want to be in the guy's mirror in front of you. So Madgeman makes the big look to the inside, a bit of a lunge, doesn't complete it to the apex of the corner, but not surprising if Garzon maybe have unwound the wheel a little bit, try to give a little room to the inside. Here it is here. You can see, look how high Garzon is there. He's out there, over under, good job for Madgeman to the bottom, and look how far Garzon is out. He's got lots of wheel into that. He's off the throttle, maybe trailing the brake, trying to keep it out of the wall. So great job for Garzon to keep it out of the wall, but I'm pretty sure he unwound the wheel a little bit coming through 3, and that gave the opportunity for Madgeman and Martella to come back in. So Brad Madgeman is your leader, the Aussie up top. Anthony Martella goes up into 2nd. Garzon 3rd, Weldon 4th, Beswick 5th, Cooley 6th, Gundler 7th, Cuthbert 8th, Nordquist 9th, and Callahan Peter in 10th. A race of survival so much right now for the drivers mid-pack. That was a big one there. As again, Lucas Nanji climbing up the back of Cole Medeiros, and those two drivers unable to stop down in turn number 5, cleared out Elias Vignola.
Oh yeah, so now as we are reaching about the midpoint in terms of the lap count, eyes will turn to the time window to see how much more of this scheduled 20-lap race we're going to be able to get in for the USF 2000 series. That cleanup's still going to take a little while to get all that speedy dry down, get those cars cleared away, make sure there's no little carbon fiber bits on the ground so that we can get back to green flag racing with whatever time is left.
Yeah, 20 minutes, a little less than 20 minutes remaining on the clock. I'll say one good thing is that incident happened further outside the racing line. Nobody's really going to be driving through that speedy dry once they get this cleared up. They'll do the best they can to get it cleaned up, and obviously very, very experienced in getting an issue like this clean, but it's not going to be part of the racing line, which is good. There's a 5 of Kaylee Countryman on the hook as well, not the ending she wanted after a solid run yesterday into the top 15. But the remainder of the cars, drivers, of course, just circulating around. They want to be at full speed. And again, I wish I could hear race control right now, because I guarantee they are not pleased with the way the drivers are running on track right now. We had some rough runs at Mid-Ohio as well, Todd, to be honest with you, at our last event. This is not what we like to see. Portland was a little better, but Mid-Ohio back in July, a number of incidents there as well.
Yeah, unfortunate. We saw someone just dive into pit lane there still during this caution period.
I think that was Gundler. Yeah, Wesley Gundler with that wing I talked about earlier.
Right.
He had to come into pit lane. Yeah, the 46 was having a great run there in 7th position. He's going to fall back very likely into the 14th spot. So it's still a lot of time for Wesley Gundler, and that NV Motorsports machine is quick. So watch for him to be able to come back forward.
Yeah, I had a very nice run yesterday, and there was contact with the accordion effect a little further up in the field. Of course, we had the big incident in corner number 5, but as the front few cars were getting through and everyone slowed down in and around the area of 5, 6, 7, that's what caught Wesley Gundler out in that front wing damage.
Yeah, let's put it this way. The little bit of chaos was not reserved for the drivers further back as well. There was a little bit of stuff happening up front too. Field will work its way through here. See the AMR IndyCar safety truck rolling by. The cars will get a good look at him there and be able to tuck back around. Under yellow, drivers, of course, need to be a lot slower. There's Evan Cooley trying to get through. Again, these drivers essentially down into first gear and have the wheel wound all the way to get the car to turn, especially when you're on the inside here. Normally you'd be on the outside making it a wider turning, so when you're on the inside, a little tougher. There, I want to say that is the number 67 of Vian Bossoff back on the racetrack now as well. They've got him back out here. He's a couple laps down, but shout out to the PFH racing team for getting that rear wing changed for him to get him back out onto the racetrack. That team, essentially led by Andy O'Gara and Sarah Fisher. The plan is to expand to 2 cars next year. They're a single car effort this year. Team based out of Indiana. A lot of experience. If you're watching from Indiana, you know the O'Gara name. When it comes to oval racing, you know that last name, whether it's midgets, Silver Crown, and of course Sarah Fisher, one of the most famous drivers in the IndyCar program. Lots of Indianapolis 500 starts, and great to have her and her husband Andy with that program. They've got a young driver, their son Danny O'Gara, is coming up the ranks. He's running in the Lucas Oil School of Racing. We're going to see him in USF Juniors here in a couple of years when he turns 14. Also, I think he won in a Kenyan midget last night as well. So, yeah, the DNA of racing is very strong in Danny O'Gara. So I'm excited to see him get to our series.
It's great to see such long-time participants in motorsports and in racing and part of the USF Pro Championships. New teams coming in as well. Zach Veach is going to have a team starting next year.
Yeah, very excited. Zach Veach, if you've been following our series for a long time, you got to go back 16 or 17 years when he was running in USF 2000. Worked this year for that in USF 2000 next year. Very likely a 2 or 3 car effort. Next year for that in USF 2000 next year. Very likely a 2 or 3 car effort next year for that team. So yeah, there's a lot of excitement around the program. As we know, we talked about the new car that'll be coming out in the USF Pro 2000 category. There's lots going on behind the scenes for 2027. We're working on our schedule as well. IndyCar showing the first half of their schedule. We'll be at a lot of those races, as we always are, as kind of the support card and the development program for IndyCar. Wait for that second half of the season to get confirmed. We can kind of put our puzzle pieces together. We really can't finish off our 2027 season as we do any year until IndyCar gets theirs locked and loaded as well.
But it shows again the importance and the success of the USF Pro Championships in that scholarship program, that teams want to be a part of it. Drivers want to be a part of it as well, because there is the scholarship. There is a proven path to move up the ranks from USF Juniors to F2000, Pro 2000, and eventually on to Indy Next, and ideally the NTT IndyCar Series.
That's it. We look at our USF Pro 2000 champions for the last 8 years. 5 of those drivers are in IndyCar. 2 of them made the Fast 6 with Renus VK and, of course, the Polster Louis Foster, the 2022 USF Pro 2000 champion. But then the other 3 are stars right now in the Indy Next Series, right? Miles Rowe, Lucky Hughes, and Max Garcia. $1.5 million we have on offer here this year for prize money and scholarships. If you win the USF 2000 championship, as Scarzone is trying to do here this year, the scholarship to move to USF Pro 2000 next year worth over $409,000. You don't see that anywhere else in motorsports internationally. It's the only program like this that has that kind of a reward for winning a scholarship, and it really has extended so many drivers' careers. You sit down and talk to Kyle Kirkwood or Christian Rasmussen, They'll tell you they would not be where they are right now if it wasn't for the scholarships, because they won all 3 levels, right? They won USF 2000, they won the Pro 2000 category, they won in Indy Next as well. All those scholarships allowed them to keep the dream alive and potentially become stars in IndyCar. So we're being told we're going green this next time by. It'll be 13 in the book, so 7 laps remaining when we come back around. Yep, lights are out of the pace car. He'll jet out there quickly. Gail Troyce, our pace car driver, as she has been for many years. She'll get that car woed up and into pit lane. Otherwise back in the hands of Sebastian Garzone. No, one more lap. Okay, I thought we were going green. They're back on. They pulled that back. So one more lap around. So it'll be 6 laps to go to cap things off. Hopefully we get the dash done. 13 minutes still remaining on the clock. Not a race I hoped that would go on to the time limit, but we'll see how it plays out here. Drivers have not been able to get back to racing. 2 issues coming to the restart, and then 1 into turn number 5.
We thought that Remington Horseshoe might be an interesting point on this circuit here at the Ontario Honda Dealers Indy at Markham. It has proven to be, unfortunately, a significant issue here in the USF 2000 series. But cleanup done, as you mentioned, all that speed dry is well off the racing line, so that should not have an impact. And now drivers will have to refocus after such an extended period of caution and just quickly getting back to green and before going back under the yellow situation again. So let's have a good focused restart and get these final 6 laps of green flag racing.
There's the 46 there of Wesley Gundler. This is actually going to help him. He got the wing change. He's back out onto the racetrack. 14 drivers remain on the lead lap. Ian Bossoff back on track as well, 2 laps down. But yeah, take a deep breath, folks. Cinch down those belts. Get focused and get back at it again. It's been a very messy run here for USF 2000. We're hoping for a lot more out of our USF Pro 2000 drivers in the next race, which will head to the racetrack right after we wrap things up with Victory Lane celebrations. We'll take our top 3 drivers from this race to Victory Lane, have our celebration there, and then get racing with USF Pro 2000. Of course, the countdown clock, but almost 2 hours and 20 minutes, Todd, before we get rolling with IndyCar?
That's right. Green flag is scheduled for about 12:22. Opening ceremonies at about 11:20 after we're wrapping up the USF Pro 2000 race. So busy busy Sunday here at the Ontario Honda Dealers Indy at Markham with lots of on-track racing action.
All right, let's see if our USF 2000 drivers can give us 6 green laps to cap things off. As I said before, very messy thus far. Garzone's already going to start spooling things up and working his way through turn number 10, 11, and 12. Garzone, pardon me, in third. It's Majman up front. I forgot about the change. So it's Majman up front right now. Brad Majman, he gets on the throttle quickly. We are underway through 1 and 2. Does Martella make a move here in the opening lap? He'll work their way out of turn number 2. Not close enough. Good job for Martella. Why not let things kind of spread out a little bit? You can see a pass getting done further back there. Here's Mayo, side by side coming through 4. They are, contact between the 2 drivers up front, and they're off. Garzone's going to get collected. Martella's collected as well. Martella and Majman collected. Another driver with nowhere to go careens into them as the track almost blocked, coming out of turn number 4. Another issue, and that is 2nd and 3rd collected there. Anthony Martella, not the way he wanted to finish the race. He made a move to the inside of Brad Majman coming through turn number 4, but they locked wheels coming out of the corner. Across the track, right into the 12 of Sebastian Garzone. And does this blow things wide open for the championship? Indeed it does. Wild stuff here, and again, another no start for USF 2000, and I gotta think this will very likely bring it to an end, knowing how much work's going to be done to unhook 3 race cars out of turn number 4.
They are absolutely connected. Unfortunate that we have the 3rd car collected in there with absolutely nowhere to go, as you mentioned, as you're seeing Anthony Martella jump out of his car. Had a run coming out of corner number 3 towards the inside of Brad Majman, but the 2 cars got collected together, as we'll be able to go back and have a look at it.
All right, folks, we have a replay for you. The battle between Martella and Majman coming out of the corner. Here's they run out of turn number 3. Majman to the outside. Martella's going to tuck it down into the bottom. He's going to be almost side by side coming into the corner. He closes up alongside. Majman gives him room on the inside. I think they're going to have room on the exit as well. We'll see this coming out. Majman there. Martella not quite able to come through. And watch this here. As they come out of the corner, they're kind of sliding. We'll watch the other driver coming through here, trying to figure out where to go. Yeah, see, Callahan Peters sees them coming across the racetrack into him, and that's a split second. Do I go to the right or do I go to the left? They're coming back across the racetrack. He elects to go driver's left, and there was just not enough room. They kind of came to a stop. He needed to stay to the right side of the racetrack. Tough one for Callahan Peter there, as he just he was the driver who had to go either left or right. He chose the wrong way and finds himself in the incident as well.
And that's the unfortunate part. It is a split second. You think that with the cars drifting back across to the right-hand side of the racetrack, if you go driver's left, but just enough of an opening did not open up for him there. So unfortunate to have Anthony Martella collected, and Sebastian Garzon, as you mentioned, he was hoping to survive through this weekend, come away with a nice, comfortable lead in the championship to go to the final round and have the triple header, just be there,
yep,
be consistent. Looks like it's going to be a bigger fight in the season end.
Yeah, instead, because we've had so much chaos already, he's going to finish in the 13th spot. The guy he's battling, Brad Majman, P1. Here's another look at it here, folks. You're going to see Martella, once he gets around the corner, the car steps out a bit on the right side. Watch when he comes through here. He thinks he's clear, not quite clear enough, and couldn't keep it to the side, and that was right rear to left front contact. Garzon tries to go to the right side, can't get through. And again, as it happens, watch them start coming back across the track here. Callahan Peters thinking, okay, which way do I go? I'm gonna go this way, and not a chance. He needed to stay to driver's right. Everybody else able to roll through. So, wow, let's kind of reset for you here, folks. I'm gonna say very close to being the final result. Brad Majman leads the way. Oliver Weldon in second. Eddie Beswick third, Evan Cooley fourth, Max Cuthbert, the USF Juniors driver, now up into the 5th spot. Thomas Nordquist in 6th, Ryan Janetta 7th, Ayrton Kahn 8th, Joao Vergara 9th, and Wesley Gundler back up into 10th position, having got that wing changed. Man, oh man, just chaos filled here for USF 2000. They had a very strong run yesterday. This one has been unbelievably messy. Yeah,
very much so, and it's bounced back for Ayrton Kahn, who had difficulties yesterday. He's running in the top 10 as well. Joao Vergara, who had problems, started at the tail end of the field. He's also in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, those drivers staying out of trouble, working their way forward, doing a great job there. I'll tell you though, again, the two incidents we saw before coming to green, over in the entry to turn number 10, disappointing. This one here, you obviously hope for maybe a clean opening lap to get things rolling. Martella, of course, making that move to the inside, wanting to win here at home after a little bit of an issue yesterday, didn't get to where he wanted to get to. Thought he might have been clear coming out of the corner, just was not. And it was just essentially, as I said, right rear to left front contact. I'll tell you this, how does Brad Majman come out of that and with no damage even to the left front? The contact sending Martella into the wall, coming back across the racetrack. Majman somehow able to stay to driver's right, not enough contact to bend the car. He may have a bent left front right now, but if this thing finishes under yellow, he's going to circulate with a damaged car. It doesn't matter. He's going to be fine. There's only 4 laps to go. In fact, when they come back around, there'll be 3 laps remaining. So
it will be interesting to see. But yes, moving around at pace car speed shouldn't be a problem. And for Anthony Martella, in that seeing that opening created as they went to the left-hander at corner number 4, that's a racer's instinct. If you see a hole opening up like that, you're going to try to make that opportunity, take advantage of that opportunity. He drifted out a little bit. There was a little bit of contact. He tried to stay off the leader of Brad Majman, but sometimes race cars are going to come together.
Yeah, and where Brad was on the outside, he can't check up there either. If he gets on the brakes or checks up, he's going to be in the wall. Because all of a sudden he's going to lose the rear of the car. So he's holding on the outside as it is, trying to keep it off the wall. I'll say this, folks. I mentioned the fact that we had 4 more laps to go, but we are now down onto the clock. There is just about 5 minutes remaining. And they're circulating, as we know, very slow lap times. They're getting around here at almost 3 minutes. We're only going to get 2 more laps in here, I think. So we're not officially going to call it right now, but with the time winding down, 2 cars still to clean up. Very likely that we're going to see Brad Majman coming away with the win here. Huge for points for him. Again, 30 points for the race win. Remember, he's trying to close back up on Sebastian Garzon, who's going to finish in the 13th position. So not a horrible finish, but still it blows things wide open as Majman, with a win here, even a podium here this weekend, was going to give himself a fantastic opportunity to grab the championship early when we get to Road America. This is going to tighten things up in a big way. This is, again, this championship battle just changed right there. And again, it wasn't Sebastian's doing. He was sitting in third spot, just trying to come through, and instead the contact in front of him sent Martella across the racetrack right into Garzone. What an epic change in the storyline of USF 2000. Not a great race for these young drivers, and I would expect that there will likely be some kind of a drivers meeting at one point, whether it's a Zoom call. Our race control will not be pleased with this at all, because this is not what we expect for drivers here in this USF 2000 program. Todd, white flag being shown there. As I said, this will be the final lap here. So Brad Majman's going to come away, as long as he's able to get through the final lap here and the car can make it home. Brad Majman's going to come away with the win. It'll be Oliver Weldon in second, and two Pabst racing cars on the podium. Eddie Beswick's going to come home in third.
Wow, and what a bounce back for Eddie Beswick after start yesterday that sent him to the back. He climbed back through the field, and to come up with a finish like this today, that's a big boost for him.
And he finishes 10 spots ahead of Garzone as well, so an opportunity for him to close up on some points. He was almost out of it completely after the issues yesterday in Garzone's win, so again, blows things wide open in the category here. Man, oh man, that's maybe one of the worst USF 2000 races I've seen. Disappointing. I've been calling this series for 17 years now, and that was absolutely disastrous. Incident after incident after incident. And again, I'm hoping that the USF Pro 2000 drivers can show well.
I was just going to say that. I'll bet that there's a lot of conversations going on right now in pit lane where those USF Pro 2000 cars are staged to get ready for their race. We don't want this type of event to happen again.
No,
go
not
out.
at all.
Let's be smart about it. Let's get through a full green flag run.
When we do wrap things up here, I will head out to Victory Lane, which will be a very interesting off-course podium. These drivers, of course, have been running around circulating under the yellow for the most of the race, and indeed it's going to finish under yellow as well. Man, what a wild one for sure here in USF 2000. Drivers, again, circulating around one more time under yellow on the clock. 40-minute time window, and we used all of it. A lot of issues for drivers here today. You know, and Todd, I expected so much more, knowing the fact that we ran the 15-lap race yesterday. They were so new to the racetrack. They'd only had 20 minutes of practice time, and they did well during the practice, that one issue. A couple of minor racing incidents during the event itself, but we were able to race our way and put some good wheel-to-wheel action in. I thought it'd sleep on it, come back, and we'd see a really good race here today. We did not see that.
I was hopeful as well that they had done so well throughout this weekend so far in adjusting and going with the flow, but a frustrating event to watch and I'm sure participate in as well. And maybe that the best way to illustrate it is 40 minutes should be more than enough time to run 20 laps, even if there is a caution or two. And again, part of the learning process, trying to take some positives out of a very difficult and challenging race for USF 2000.
Exactly that. But again, the positive would be for Brad Majman and Pabst Racing. They go 1-3. Big win for Brad Majman. Again, thinking about coming into the race behind Sebastian Garzone. I can't let him, get out and win and lose some more points going to Road America. Instead, on this restart, Garzone gets collected by Anthony Martella. He comes across the racetrack. Majman comes away, and he's going to get 30 points for the race win. Big one for Brad Majman there. Second place goes to Oliver Weldon. Third to Eddie Beswick. Fourth spot to Evan Cooley. Fifth to Max Cuthbert. Sixth, Thomas Nordquist. Seventh, Ryan Janetta. Eighth, Ayrton Kahn. Ninth, Joao Vergara. And rounding out the top 10, Wesley Gundler. Wing damage, he pits, drives his way back forward, and able to leverage the opportunities. Gundler getting himself back into the top 10. It's been a really good run of top 10 runs for Wesley Gundler. That single car NV Motorsports effort, they're looking to have 3 cars in 2027. He's been very impressive. You know, the one car always is tough, Todd. You don't have the extra data. You're not looking at your teammates' video and everything. It's just you learning the track by yourself. And I think that kind of speaks volumes for Wesley, how great he's done this year.
Well, absolutely, very well done. Vian Bossoff, too, has climbed back up to 12th after a little bit of difficulty early. Anthony Martella will be classified as 13th. Sebastian Garzone, the championship leader, who had a victory in race number 1, finishes in the 14th position, and the championship is wide open heading to the final event.
Unbelievable stuff here in USF 2000.